On today's episode, I'm excited to say that we have Karen Herdman with us. She is a martial artist, author, journalist, instructor, and competitor, whose journey through the martial arts has spanned decades. She is a 7th degree Tung Sudo black belt, a former national winner, and a world-level competitor. She's also a chief and active duty military. Let's get into it. Thanks for joining us tonight. Karen, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, absolutely. In respects to martial arts, I am a 7th degree Grandmaster of Tung Sudo, traditional Korean hand-to-hand combat. Been training for about 36 years. I've written 5 books and have been featured in write-ups in over 320 magazines. Not that there are that many karate magazines, but I've been featured that many times in a handful of magazines that are out there in martial arts. So I'm established as pretty much a writer. I've gotten the nickname Master of Inspiration, and I've been writing for a long, long time, probably one of the first, especially the first female journalists to ever write in the martial arts industry, and I'm very proud of that. But yeah, I've written for probably just about every martial arts magazine out there that you can think of in one way or another. Still writing, still got features coming out. It's just that there's not too many hard copy karate magazines anymore. I still teach, I still train, and that's pretty much the extent of what I'm doing in martial arts today.
That is incredible. So, what magazines are coming out right now that you're a part of?
There's a feature coming out in Masters Magazine. It's going to be a feature on Native American military honors that we're doing at the Sport Karate Museum in Houston on October the 2nd and 3rd of this year. And Professor Gary Lee is the first to honor Native Americans that have served in the military and are either martial artists or are law enforcement. So we have that coming out, and there's a write-up to come out with it in Masters Magazine that was due last week. I haven't done yet. So I've got to do that tomorrow. I got to sit down and make that happen. But it's going to have features of a lot of very high-ranked and high military-ranked martial artists, some Native Americans as well, some of them going all the way back to the Vietnam War from various tribes. We have a lot of different tribes that will be featured in that. Of course, I myself am Cherokee with the Central Appalachian Cherokee tribe, and I'm actually the chief of that tribe. So I'm kind of overseeing the whole thing. Somehow I got into overseeing it. I don't know how that happened, but that's coming up October the 2nd and 3rd in Houston.
That is incredible. And I do want to say thank you for your service. I know you're a veteran. So
yeah, I'm not a veteran. I'm actually active state military. So yeah, a little bit of a difference.
You're still active.
Yeah, I still do it.
Okay.
Still state military.
I apologize.
That's all right.
That is awesome. So before we get into your accomplishments, what first introduced you to martial arts?
I was a little girl. Don't really know why I always wanted to do it, but unfortunately, with my family circumstances, that was nothing that we could afford. We didn't get to engage in extracurricular activities when I was little. And so when I was old enough and could afford to do it myself as a young girl, I walked in a studio in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it was C.S. Kim Karate, and never looked back and loved it. And it's been, 36 years now. So that's pretty much my story. It's a little deflated. People ask me that. I've never really had anything happen, or I was never really bullied. Well, I was bullied, but never thought of martial arts as being the answer to that. It's just something that I always wanted to do. And when I got old enough to pay for it myself, that's the first thing that I did.
That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about Tung Sudo for those who may not know about it?
Tung Sudo is traditional Korean martial arts. It is a hand-to-hand combat. It's what they trained in the military. I think they still train with Tung Sudo in the military, but definitely back in the earlier days in the 1950s and so forth, they used that training of hand-to-hand combat, and it was brought over to this country. We consider C.S. Kim to be the founding father of Tung Sudo in this country. There may have been some others, but he's by far the most well-noted. And that was in the early 70s, and he was in the Korean military himself, and he actually trained some very well-known martial artists as well, one being Chuck Norris, who was in Korea at the time, and he was one of his instructors, and also Cynthia Rothrock was one of his students. And he actually has a picture of her as a red belt in Tang Sudo. And I always tell her when I go back, I'll get it for her, but I just never can seem to remember to do that. But yeah, this is the Tang Sudo camp out of Pennsylvania is very noted and very well established. And a lot of great martial artists have come out of that camp.
That's awesome. I come from a Taekwondo background, and I know it's very similar in certain ways. Um, but I never had the opportunity to practice Tung Sudo because there's no schools around where I live. But
Oh, okay.
I do like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's similar. A little bit of difference. I've taken in many Taekwondo practitioners, and there are some differences, but really not a whole lot. It's still Korean, and they're still
Yeah.
technically traditional martial arts. I think Tang Soo Do is more militaristic. Taekwondo is more of a more Olympic sport, that kind of thing, a sport. But it's still easy to adapt because it's the same language, and a lot of the moves are very very similar.
So, do you remember your first class by chance?
I remember my first private lesson. I do. I do.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, sure. It was with Mr. Joe Bruno, who still teaches in the Pittsburgh area. And I remember I walked in and I was sweating a lot from just trying to think. I mean, it's when you first start, just getting your body to move those ways that your body's not used to moving, you'll break a sweat doing that. And I remember I was sweating pretty hard. We were one of his, first three or four students when he started his school in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Pittsburgh. And I always,
And we're back. We had some technical issues, so if you see a glitch in the video, that's why.
hey,
So I want
Jim.
to, so I want to give a shout out to Jack Barry and Martial Arts Maniac for everything they've done for the podcast and the martial arts community. They're great. If you haven't heard of them, check them out. I will put the link in the description.
Absolutely. Brother Jack's doing some good things, up and coming with the magazine, and it is something if you like especially the traditional writing type of stuff, he's back on that. So I'm glad to see that again.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So what inspired you to become an author?
I've been a journalist by trade. That's what I started doing early on in my career. And I, they always say you either can write or you can't. I'm very fortunate that I'm someone that has always been very good at writing, even from just a little child. I found poems and songs and things I wrote in like the first grade recently, and it just kind of let me know, yeah, this is just something that I have been gifted with to be able to write, and it has turned into, 5 books and over 320 karate magazine features. Including columns. So I'm very grateful and very fortunate that people can relate to the things that I do write.
And how many books do you have out?
I have 5 books out right now.
Okay. And where can people get them at?
You can Google them, Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, just about anybody that sells books, you'll be able to find my books. And the mass majority of them are martial arts philosophy. I do have one that is a self-help book. It was a very personal book for me to write, but I had to do it because of some tragedy that took place in my life. But the others are all martial arts book. My last book was in conjunction with the Sport Karate Museum, and it is Women of the Sport Karate Museum, and it goes over the history of women in martial arts from the 1960s and all the big steps that they've taken through this industry all the way up till today. And it was a tribute I did for my sisters in martial arts when I was being hosted as the celebrity roast of the Sport Karate Museum about 3 or 4 years ago. So I just wrote a book with all the women and kind of shared that platform with them.
That's incredible. I know you mentioned Cynthia Rothrock earlier. You and her are probably the two most well known that I know of. Do you have a website by chance, like where people can purchase like maybe an autographed book or something?
Um, I don't have a website of my karate stuff. I have a uh, tribal website because I'm the chief of a tribe, a Cherokee tribe, a 501c3 community based tribe, and we do have a website, but not for my martial arts stuff. But
Gotcha.
it's available. I do get requests for things like that, and I try to accommodate. If someone's not going to see me somewhere, if I'm doing an appearance, then I usually will let them send them to me, and I'll sign them and get it back to them. I have done that on occasion. Of course, with the U.S. mail now, I'm probably missing about 200 books. I don't know what's going on with our mail system, but it's kind of at your own risk because I'm telling you, a lot of them don't get back. But I certainly want to work with people, and I appreciate it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how long did it take you to get your first black belt?
The standard traditional 4 years.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, and that's pretty common with traditional martial arts.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you got your first black belt, how did you feel whenever you tested and you got it?
You know, that was a hard test. It's
I'm
like,
sure.
I mean, especially when you're with an organization like the ITF and CS Kim Karate, there were probably about 100 of us testing for black belt at that time, I think. And you have to wait. You have to wait your turn because you got to clear through a panel of masters who are asking you all kind of questions in addition to the physical test. It was an all day affair, and it wasn't easy in any way, shape, or form. And it was very trying physically for us to do that test. So I was very proud to get through it. And of course, I was very honored to receive that first black belt. It's always the most special belt I think you can get. And, I have 7 now, so I can definitely tell you that one was special. Um, Also, just getting my yellow belt was a very special belt for me. I smiled just ear to ear because finally, I got a little color in that belt. I wasn't a white belt anymore, but definitely those. And then also my 4th degree, which is the rank of master in Tang Soo Do, was very special. That took a good 12 years of training. And I know a lot of students, and especially female students, never make it that far. So then to get to the rank of grandmaster in 2020, I don't even know how that happened. I think it happened because I just didn't quit. So that's really
Yeah.
all you have to do is just don't quit and keep training and keep going. And with that's how you rank up. So obviously when you get older and you get that high ranked, it's not as much as of a physical performance. I had to do several forms and answer questions and things like that for my 7th degree black belt, the rank of grandmaster. But um, it wasn't anything like the test previous when I was younger, and it shouldn't be because if you do it right, you're getting older. Your bones can't handle a lot of that, when you're testing for your first dan, your first degree. But yeah, it's just I don't really think about it too much. Already, I'll be up to rank up in a couple of years again. I can't believe how time's flying. You just go on and do your thing, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, it's that time again. So yeah, I love it.
That's incredible. So has your teaching philosophy changed over the years? Because you said you're still an instructor.
Yeah, not really. Just as mean and hard as I ever was. um, I'm extremely philosophical. I mean, a philosophical writer. I have expectations on the inside, I call it, for my students. I mean, I've got some students right now just fresh off the street that can kick and punch like a seasoned fighting competitor. It's just natural.
That's
But,
awesome.
that really doesn't mean that much to me because I want to see what you are as a person, and I want to see what you are on the inside and how you're going to contribute as a martial artist and put back. That's what I really look for.
Absolutely. If you don't have character or discipline, it's just street fighting.
Exactly, and a monkey in a zoo can do that, and I tell them
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, "A monkey in a zoo can do that. How are you different from a monkey in a zoo?" So, like, I'm always challenging them like that, it's what's on the inside that really counts.
Yeah. So, what's some of the biggest misconceptions people have about Tang Sudo?
Um, well, the biggest misconception is how people pronounce it that don't know what it is, like tongue sudo, tang sudo. I've heard it all. I guess that's more of a mispronunciation. But definitely not understanding exactly what it is, even though in Korea, tongue sudo is way more popular. And Taekwondo actually isn't as popular in Korea. But in America, Tang Soo was the lesser popular traditional art form of Korean art form.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of, sometimes it's a little bit of explaining. But, in America, if you just say karate classes, everybody gets it, even though it's not karate by any means, by definition. It's like the term automobile in America. Do you drive an automobile? So it's the same thing. So people are happy if you just say karate class. So I go along with it. I'm like, yeah, I teach karate. I don't teach karate. I teach Tang Soo Do, but okay, the average person doesn't understand. So I just say I teach karate.
Trust me, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, Taekwondo. So people they still call it karate. The dojang they still call it dojo.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, when in Rome,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So martial arts today. Where do you see martial arts headed in the future?
Huh. That's a good question because I'm seeing such a switch over with what the younger generations are willing to tolerate before they have a nervous breakdown. So I'm trying to, I'm like, you know, am I going to have to go along with the bandwagon and make it more fun and fluffy? And I'll think about that and go, nah, no, I'm not going to do that because I don't do it for money. I teach the community through the Police Athletic League, and my goal is to make these street kids, and some of them just have nothing, to come up and be outstanding students. And I'm not going to compromise on that tradition. And I hope a lot of other teachers out there are with me on that because these kids now more than ever need someone who's going to be a tough coach.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean you don't love them. Doesn't mean you don't, you know, give them compliments when they deserve it. But I mean, the babyfication of this, whatever they did in the early 2000s to these kids, that's got to stop. Now, you shouldn't get a trophy if you sucked. I'm sorry. That's what makes you do better. So you will get a trophy next time. I can't wrap my head around what happened with the 2000s kids, that millennial, the 2010 kids. And, this is one instructor. Unfortunately, it's not going to compromise because I don't have to, but to answer your question, oh yeah, kids can't really put up with a lot of what we were willing to put up with to get that black belt.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So like I'm judging my first martial arts competition since probably COVID, this weekend actually. And it is the first one that I've been a part of, even attended in the last decade that is not given participation trophies. And you can actually do a minimum point, or like there's no minimum point. So like some of them I go to, you have to have like a 7 or a 3, which is weird. And but now like they're like, no, if they suck, give them a 1.
Yeah.
So
No, I mean, I'm tough. I've had people, set me on their testing panels and at the end go, well, you failed that student. I'm like, well, what's, what's your point? Well, I've never failed a student. I said, well, here you can fix the papers, but I call it like I see it. And I've been doing this for 36 years. If you, in the long run, you're doing a student a disfavor if you acclimate them when they don't deserve it, because they're not going to feel like the real thing. To feel like the real thing, you have had to go the distance and have proven that you are someone who deserves to wear that belt. And that's something I'll always stick to.
absolutely. If you just pass them along, that no child left behind, if you bring that into the dojang, you're doing them a disservice. If they don't earn that, you're doing them a
Right.
disservice.
And, I'm not going to leave them behind, but I'm not going to,
Yeah,
give them a pass. If it
yeah,
takes 10 years for you to be a black belt, and so be it.
yep,
You're going to be the real thing. I'll work with you if you show up and have a good attitude if it takes 10 years, but I can't, I don't think it's fair to all the other black belts out there when, you get to have your black belt when you didn't, muster up and do what you should have done. And why do you get to have a black belt when you're not black belt material? I'll probably never change that stance. I'm pretty hard headed about stuff like that. So, and I can't complain. I mean, the room's packed when I teach. And so I know that the students know I care about them, which is why I'm like that, and they know I'm the real thing when I say that. So you got to be very careful. I understand when you do it for money that you want, make sure everybody leaves with a smile on their face. But I'm telling you, they'll still leave with a smile on their face, but you still need to be the teacher that you're supposed to be with these kids.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. I agree with that. So you've been an instructor for a long time, and this is something that we all deal with. So I just want to know how you deal with it. How do you deal with ego in the classroom?
Yeah, there's always one.
Yeah,
um, I'll tell you how I deal with it. I just keep teaching good hard classes and they eventually quit because they're not in it for the right reason.
yeah, yeah. I agree with
When
that.
you see these kids who work hard and sweat hard and it's not doesn't come easy for them. They're the ones that go all the way. I
Yeah,
was one of them.
yeah.
Martial
Same,
arts
same.
didn't come easy for me. I was an athletic, but I never quit and I had a good attitude, kept my head on straight. And I didn't just go to black belt, and here I am 36 years later, a grandmaster. And it's the same thing for you know any other student today. The ones with the what Mr. CS Kia, my instructor, used to call it big hats. It means big head. He goes, you got a big hat. You got a big hat. I ain't got to have a big head to have a big hat. So, okay. But, if when you have a big head, very rarely will you be able to go all the way. Very rare.
Yeah, for us, because like with our rank structure, green belt's in the middle, and we call it green belt syndrome. So like sometimes they'll get that ego, or like you said, they won't last, but they'll end up quitting. But it
Yeah. Almost always it's like that.
yeah. So what concerns you the most about the martial arts community today?
I think along the lines with what we're talking about, I feel like if we're going to mass produce black belts and not let them put in the time and the effort, that we're going to have some really sorry, not just sorry black belts, but sorry instructors that are going to come out. Um, it's very important that you understand the philosophy behind martial arts, which is why I've written, 5 books, 5 books on it, pretty much. It's very important that you understand the internal aspects of martial arts. If you don't put that into your class, you're really going to have uh, some issues later. And those issues, a lot of times, are going to revolve around settling just to keep your students, and the money coming in. You don't want to ever be in a position where you have to compromise what you really believe just to make money. If you have to do that, you need to go do something else. Really, your heart has to be in this. Listen, I know every instructor out there knows what I'm saying. When you get up there and teach, you put a piece of your soul into that class. It's not like teaching any other sport. You really hit a lot of internal aspects with these students. And when I see that go away, um, that's very disheartening for me. I have seen a little bit of a trend with that where, you're just mass producing, these kids are coming in and a couple years later, they're getting a belt and they're not even 10. I mean, when I say belt, I mean black belt. There's a point in life where you need to be seasoned in life as well as seasoned in martial arts, which is a traditional Tang Soo Do understanding. You can be a junior black belt, but you are a junior black belt and you still owe your respect to people who are black belts in life. And that is the Tang Soo Do way. And, in Tang Soo Do, as you know, we traditionally give out blue belts. Now that's starting to switch a lot because they're so hard to get. But traditionally we have a midnight blue belt and there's a philosophy behind that which says you'll never be a black belt because you'll never stop learning and you'll never know it all. And I still wear a blue belt. I know it's changing now. We can't get them as much as we used to, the midnight blue ones, but for me, it's very much par for the course in the way I live my life that I'm always going to be a student and I'm always going to be a midnight blue belt because black means death in the Asian culture, means finality. I know it all. So that's something that we in Tong Soo Do philosophically, traditionally have stayed away from.
So, what advice would you give someone walking into a dojo for the very first time or dojang?
I would say don't quit because most people will. Most people get to yellow belt and quit, or orange belt, or green belt, or especially red belt, which is a long haul right under black belt or brown belt, whatever you want to call that haul. But I would really say don't quit. Um, there are going to be times that you're going to want to quit. There will be times that your body just won't listen to you, depending on where you're at in life. And again, don't quit. One beauty of martial arts is that it is an ageless sport, a timeless sport, and you could be 7 or you could be 70, and you could still go in and train. And maybe you can't train like a 17-year-old when you're 70, and maybe you have to, deck out a class a little bit earlier because your body's different. But you can still train and work that out. Don't feel like it's a younger person's sport. Uh, for Pete's sake, don't stop at brown belt or red belt. I'd rather you quit long before then because it's just, you know, people tell me, oh, well, hey, I got a brown belt. You know, for people like me who've been doing this a long time, what I really hear is, hey, I quit.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what I hear. I'd rather hear, I was a yellow belt. I just didn't, it wasn't my thing. I get that because not everybody can be a black belt. But when you get that close, and you're bragging on that, you better shut that down with the real thing because to them, you were someone that quit. There's no reason why you can't go all the way if you went that far.
I agree with that 100%. So, what's an accomplishment that you're proud of that most people don't know about?
And that's overall in my life.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. I appreciate that question. I like that question. I've never gotten that question before. I'm proud to be a mom. It is something that, it's a continuum. It never stops no matter how old your kids get. And, it's challenging in different stages of a child's life, all the way up to adulthood. It's a very challenging role where you're incessantly wondering if you did it right, and if you worry about your children. I don't care how old you are. Being a mother is like that, and it's hard at times because it can be worrisome. But I appreciate that because there are things that I didn't know about real love until I actually had a child myself. And I know all moms understand when I say that. I'm very proud of that. Um, I'm very proud about my faith. Most people don't know this because they don't ask me, but I'm an ordained chaplain. I went to seminary. Um, I'm you know ordained to be a street chaplain, a prison chaplain, a hospital chaplain. I've done all those things, and I still do them every week. I literally am a mission chaplain, and I deal with street people every week. It's one way I give back to God. They don't know anything about me. I don't care. I still go in and I do it because it's a conviction that I have, and I know I feel like I can make a difference in people's lives. And besides that, there by the grace of God go I, because I should have been one of those people. And why I'm not, you know, a crack street whore. It's by the grace of God, and that's one way that I do put back with that. So that's an accomplishment that a lot of people don't know about me. I mean, I have a couple more. Most people don't know I'm still active state military.
yeah. I didn't know
Uh,
that. I thought you were a veteran. That's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah, and I'm still doing my MOS is G2. If you're military, you know what that is. I love it. I love being able to have a role in protecting, especially my state. Also, I am the chief of a Cherokee tribe, and Central Appalachian Cherokee Tribe is a 501c3 community-based educational tribe, and we try to do good things for the Appalachian poor Cherokee offspring in that region. And I'm very proud of my tribe and the people that are walking that path with me. So, yeah, I guess I've hit all four things that I do. So thanks for asking that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, how's being a minister or chaplain? How has that changed your life? Like, I'm sure you've had some really good stories with that.
Yes. I go in every week to a local mission, and I am the chaplain. And I do some hardcore spiritual work with these people because they need it. It's not what I would say would be a typical church type program. These are people that are on drugs. They're getting ready to lose everything. They're coming in for food. They're coming in for a place to live. I work it through Christ Central Ministries. Um, and they have missions all over the states. But this particular one that I work with people, I have an ability that God gave me when I was about 12 years old where I can discern and I can see things. And I love that you're asking me this because people don't know this about me. I have what biblically would be called a prophetic ability. And I literally sometimes before these people hit the seat will be able to see things to help them and encourage them and get them strong in their faith. And that's some of the work that I do. I do some heavy spiritual deliverance work with people, but not everybody can do it. But this is something that I know that I'm wired to do. And of all things that I do, to me, that's probably the most important thing that I do.
That's incredible. That really is. I'm an
Thank
EMT for my day job, so I deal with the homeless population a lot in my area.
you.
So I understand.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So years from now, what do you hope that your students remember about you the most?
I hope they remember that I was someone, they came out of a very difficult situation and by the grace of God did good things in life. And I hope they'll know that that is something that they can do. And I hope they know that now, whether I'm dead or alive. I hope that someone goes, you know what, because of Master Ren, they call me, Ren is short for Karen. Because of Master Ren, my life is different. Um, she poured into me. She made me see things to be a better person. In the end, when you're dead, all you have is for someone to call your name and say good things about you. There's nothing left. I mean, I do a lot of walking. I try to walk 3 miles a day, and sometimes it's in a graveyard. But um, I love doing that because I look at people and I realize that once you get into the second or third generation, they're not even going to come visit you. They're not even going to know who you are. And the more generations you get into, all you really have is for someone to go, I had this ancestor who just hit it out of the ballpark and did great things and made a difference in people's lives. In the end, that's really all you have. And I hope that people think about that because we do get hooked, and caught up in the day to day activities of our lives, thinking we're always going to have time. And we're not going to always have time. And the older you get, I promise you, the quicker it goes because I'm 210. Maybe I'm not that old, but I'm telling you, it goes quick. It just goes, you sit back and go, well, what did I really do to make a difference? Did I do anything? That is a mature spiritual person to be able to say, I want to pour in. So when I'm gone, people will go, she made a difference in my life.
Yeah. You're up in this area, I believe. Um, so you might know some schools around here. I Next month, the 26th, I'm teaching a free American Heart Association CPR class to
Wonderful.
to all martial art instructors in the area. So
That's great.
if you like, I think Jack Barry's going to put it out for me as well. But if you want to like let people know, it's out towards Morgantown. Like any martial art instructor is welcome to come. So
Morgantown, West Virginia. Listen, if you work with kids, especially, or you teach masses like this, you need to be CPR certified. You
absolutely,
need to have a DFib nearby, and
yeah,
you need to know how to use a DFib. I'm very, very trained mainly because of the military. I have to keep up with that every year, go through training every year with this, in every way, shape, and form. Hopefully that is not something you'll ever have to use, but there's a good chance if you've been teaching as long as I have, you may have to. and you need to know what to do in that event. So please, yeah, if you're in martial arts and you teach kids anywhere, I don't care if you're teaching Sunday school, you need to go get CPR certified and get that basic CPR. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah,
If you're doing it free, that's great because that's expensive.
it is.
Uh,
The
for
only
you to do it for free is an awesome community event.
Yep. I'm sponsoring it with the podcast. They're paying like because I obviously I had to rent out the area, but the only thing that people had to pay for is the certification fee, which I think that through the American Heart Association is like $20 for the certification fee itself. So that's I mean that's nothing.
That's amazing. Thank you for doing that. It's
You're
very
welcome.
needed.
It is. It is. And I know there's a lot of instructors out there that aren't CPR certified. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Hmm.
um, so you've competed, correct?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you're a world champion.
World champion competitor.
Yeah.
I think I came in fourth in the world. This was a long time ago. My competitive days are over, but I did compete a lot all over the country when I was younger.
Tell me about that. How was that?
Everybody should do it. I don't care if you don't think you're a competitor, don't want to do it, don't want nothing to do it. You need to show up and do it one time.
Yeah.
You need to know what it feels like to get in a ring with somebody you don't know who could kick your butt and is at the same skill you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you need to see what that's like.
Yeah. I agree
It's
with that.
it's something that is, that experience is something that you need in life. You need to know what it's like to get in the ring because in life, you'll be getting in the ring over and over and over again. And to have that experience of what it's like to get into a ring when it's scary like that is an experience that will help you in life. So I always tell my students, listen, you may not think you're a competitor, but you need to show up and do it at least once. I want you to do it at least once. I don't care if you win, could care less, but I want you to at least show up and do it one time and try it and compete.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, what advice can you give to instructors out there?
The instructors coming up under, let's not forget about respect. Um, I ran into a situation not too long ago where instructors of another school, I had students that wanted to go there and they felt the need to argue with me philosophically about some things in front of these students. And there's protocol with us. I'm getting ready to incept 4 students that moved here from New York. And I know their instructor's instructor because we had the same instructor. And out of respect, I'll be telling them even though I'm sure it's not a problem because they moved, you need to go and let them know that you're going to be training with me because it's a respect thing. And there are certain things you do and certain things you don't do when you're in the martial arts industry. And I'll tell you what, it is a small industry and people know each other. And if you get in, you get in the situation where uh, somebody loses respect for you, the whole industry will be behind that. It's not like a big corporation. We all know each other. For the most part, we all know each other. So keep in mind that it's the same thing in class. Instructors deserve to have respect, and if you're going to do any swapping around in any way, shape, or form, make sure that these students will go back and let their instructor know what's going on with them because you're not the one who initially poured into them. Somebody else did. And you need to make sure you make that right. I've had that happen a couple of times where these instructors should have told my student, you go back to your instructor and tell him that you talk to me and what you want to do or you can't come in. That's what a good instructor will do. A good instructor will do that. That's just respect.
I remember when I was younger, my instructor, he's passed away now, but he would tell me, "Go, learn, and bring back." So, like, whatever if I went and learned something new, like if I cross trained somewhere, come back and just show him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same, I always asked, just a
Always
respect thing.
asked.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're different. We're not soccer.
Nope.
We're not baseball. We have a protocol, a
Yep.
discipline and respect protocol that you need to be a part of. So I hope all instructors understand that. That's that's just par for the course.
And speaking of respect, like that's the one thing martial arts taught me, that respect is a universal language. Like no matter what walk of life we come from, is something that we can all understand and speak. Like that's the one thing that's always stuck with me.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Master Ren, it's been awesome talking to you. It's been an honor. It really has. I am going to get one of your books. Eh,
Okay. Thank
uh,
you. Have a good night.
you too.